I'm gonna build a gaming PC in a Thermaltake S100 case with a Ryzen 2200G, and as you'll see, I make a big mistake that almost ruins my day. Oh, hey buddy, how you doing? It's me, TechDweeb. Thanks for clicking on the video today. So this'll be a pretty simple video. I'm building a PC for my friend. Well, it's not for him, it's for his friend. Him and his Dungeons & Dragons group are all chipping in to buy their other D&D friend a PC. A bunch of D&D nerds they are, not like me. I would never play something so dorky like D&D. It's definitely not a fun and exciting hobby for dweebs like me. Nope. So this PC needs to be able to handle D&D stuff. That much I know. I don't know what they use, maybe like tabletop simulator or something. So the goal today is we're going to be building a light gaming PC on a budget featuring the Ryzen 3 2200G. This is an APU, which means that it's going to be both our processor and our GPU. And while it's an older APU, I still think it offers some great performance for the price, if you can find it at a good price, of course. I'll explain the rest of the parts as I build, so without further delay, let's build a PC. Our motherboard is the ASRock B450M Pro 4. It's a micro ATX size, so it'll fit nicely in this MATX case. And this is updated to the latest BIOS, so CPU compatibility shouldn't be an issue. But any B350 or B450 board will work fine with our 2200G APU. Speaking of which, here's our 2200G. I found this on my local marketplace at a good price, so I gobbled it up. I was initially considering going with a Athlon 3000G, which I used in a recent build video. There's a link to that in the description below. But the price of the 3000G has gone up quite a bit since I made that video. And this 2200G cost me less than the 3000G, and it should offer much better performance overall. This has integrated Radeon Vega 8 graphics as opposed to the Vega 3 graphics of the 3000G. And this 2200G has 4 cores, 4 threads, so it'll offer much better performance, not just in games, but Windows stuff too, or other applications like photoshopping selfies for Facebook, or editing videos of your sister's bridal shower, or organizing your sewing patterns, or whatever normal people use their computers for. I'm going to apply some Noctua NTH1 thermal paste. You'll want to apply just the right amount of thermal paste. Use an amount equivalent to exactly 2/37ths the size of a 135 gram potato. And for the cooler, I'm going to use the stock cooler that came with my 3000G, but any socket AM4 cooler will work fine. This chip shouldn't run too hot, I don't think. Our RAM is XPG Gammix D10. Is that how you say that? Gammix? I don't know. This is a 16 gigabyte 3000 megahertz kit. I could have gone with 8 gigabytes to save some money, but honestly 8 gigabytes isn't really enough these days. Even if you can get by with 8, the price difference is totally worth spending a bit extra just so you don't have to deal with running on low memory when you're gaming, or if you like to have 247 Chrome tabs open at the same time like some sort of disgusting monster. Our system drive is going to be a 256 gigabyte Timetec SATA M.2 drive. I'm installing this in the Ultra M.2 slot, which is for NVMe drives. This is a SATA M.2 drive. Should I be installing this in the other M.2 slot? And will this cause problems later on? Well, stay tuned to find out. And there we go. That's our motherboard done. But only weirdos like me would actually use a motherboard outside of a case. So let's start getting the case ready. With any PC, the case is the real star of the show, because that's what the computer looks like on the outside. This is the Thermaltake S100. It's a micro ATX case with tempered glass side panel to show off all that sweet hardware and RGB goodness. I've built in this case before and I love it. It's easy to work in, high quality materials, it's no nonsense. And it looks great too. It's minimalistic, classy, and it has a cat inside, and a door that swings open super easily. I love cases with doors that swing open. Let's open up the back too so we can access everything. All our cables for our front USB and the power button and stuff are in there. Now we're ready to get our RGB fans installed. Get the heck out of here, Hermione, you piece of garbage. I'm just kidding, sweetie. You know I love you. So these RGB fans come in a 5-pack, and they have their own proprietary connection, which means they come with their own controller for the fans to plug into. And this can connect to your motherboard's RGB header, or you can use the little controller thingy, so that'll be nice for her. The fans are see-through, so they'll look nice in this white case. Oh, by the way, in case you didn't know, the fans blow through the cage, so the side of the fan that's open is the intake, and they blow out the other side. I've decided that I'm gonna have the air coming in through the 2 fans at the back and the top, since I don't like hot air coming out the top of the PC, and will be exhausting through the 3 fans at the front. Oh my gosh, these fans were so annoying to install. The little screw holes were too tight, like they weren't threaded properly for the screws they provided, so the screws kept stripping. I had to use other screws to deepen the threads and then unscrew those to use the crappy screws that came with the fans. And I had to do this on all 4 corners of each of the 5 fans. It took freaking forever, and I hated it. And I hated building PCs, and I hated having to record it for YouTube, and I hated my cat and my mom, and I hated you. But that was only for the 20 minutes or so that I had to wrestle with these stupid fans. I'm just gonna push that terrible memory deep down in my pit of sadness so it can never bother me again. Power supply time. This is a 450 watt EVGA bronze rated power supply. I bought it because it was cheap, and EVGA it's a decent brand, so it shouldn't catch fire or explode and make my friend's friend go blind from flying broken tempered glass. That's the theory, at least. I'll make an update video if that happens. Motherboard time. Let's get this installed and... oh, wait, nope. Gotta do the IO shield first. Am I the only one who always forgets this? Every single time. Tell me I'm not alone. So now the motherboard will slide in nicely. I love this step, installing the motherboard in the case, because that means the end is in sight. And it sort of starts looking like a computer at this point, which is nice to see. Let's work on some cables and connections and stuff. We have our 24-pin motherboard power and 8-pin CPU power, and our USB 3.0 cable from the case into the USB 3 header, and the USB 2.0 connection, and the front HD audio from the headphone jack in the front of the case. I'm actually going to plug in the 5-volt 3-pin ARGB cable from the fan controller while I'm here too. And I always need to look these up in the motherboard manual. I can never remember the pinout for the front power button, the reset button, the hard drive light, all that stuff. Easy enough when you follow the diagram. Let's tidy up our cables at the back. We could tuck all these away, except we're gonna leave out a PCIe power cable in case she ever wants to add a GPU to this machine to beef up its gaming power. And we also need a SATA connection for our RGB hub. All the fans get plugged into this, and I'm actually going to strap this to the hard drive tray because we don't have a hard drive to install, and it's the best place to stick it so that it's accessible but tucked out of the way. Just using a zip tie here, and we'll call that good enough. And for my favorite part of the build, the cable management. You think I'm joking? Well, I'm not. I love managing the cables, you guys. Seriously, I just find it so satisfying to make it all neat, tidy. I'm weird like that. All done, baby. Oh yeah. Cross your fingers for me. Do you think we're gonna post on the first try? Power on. Oh look, we have signs of life. All the fans are lighting up. That's a good start. Oh yeah, we have our little remote too, don't we? At least we can change the colors. That's cool. But are we gonna post? Hey, there we go. Posted. First try. Awesome. Alright, that calls for a victory. Diet root beer. Nice. I think we'll just put this safely right on top of the PC. That's the safest place for it, I think. So you can see that our RAM is running locked at 2666 MHz, and that's because we need to enable XMP to get our full speed. There we go, 3000 MHz. And I think we should be able to boot because Windows is installed on the drive, so let's restart and hopefully we boot into Windows. Nope. Back in the BIOS. Why didn't we boot? Windows is on that drive. Is the drive even being detected? No. No, it's not showing up under our storage. Why would that be? Should we try another drive? This is a SATA drive, so there shouldn't be any compatibility issue with the processor. Do you know what's gone wrong? Because I do. It's that Ultra M.2 slot, remember? This drive is SATA. I guess this motherboard doesn't support SATA through the Ultra M.2. Maybe only the other normal loser M.2 slot supports normal loser SATA drives. Well, let's find out. Oh, before we do that, let's peel off the plastic. You know how I like to do it. Quick like a band-aid. Okay, so we're gonna take this SATA M.2 out of the primary Ultra M.2 slot and move it over to the other boring, normal loser M.2 slot. Easy enough. Let's see if that does the trick. Second time's the charm. Is it gonna work this time? At least we can play with the lights while we wait to find out. That's fun. Yeah, alright, we're booting the Windows. See, that was the problem. Glad I thought of that before messing around with switching the drives and reinstalling Windows. That would have ruined my day. Nice when there's an easy fix. And there we go. We booted into Windows, no issues at all. Nice. Well, let's see if the ASRock utility for the Motherboard RGB can control those lights. I definitely want to make sure that works. Oh, the screen went black. That'll be the OS detecting our new Radeon Vega 8 graphics on the 2200G. Oh, there we go. So yeah, RGB software control appears to be working. Nice. Easy to change the colors, set up some color modes or color cycles or whatever you like. That controller seems to work pretty well. This was my first time building a PC with one of those. I'm glad it worked out. Oh, and there's a fan button on there so you can control the fan speeds right from the remote. Nifty. I like it. I'm gonna do a separate video on the performance of the 2200G. We're gonna overclock it if we can, and I'm gonna show you how it handles a ton of games. Some old games, some new games. Maybe we'll try out some emulation. But I can't build a PC without showing you some gameplay, so here you go. It plays games really well, much better than the 3000G, and the 3000G impressed me quite a bit. Yeah, the gaming performance isn't nearly as good as if we had a dedicated GPU, but these APUs are super cheap, and you could use them as a stopgap in systems you build to be able to at least play some games while you wait for a GPU upgrade. Or if you're a light gamer or a budget gamer and you're fine with lower settings, then you don't even need a GPU. This does the job just fine, as you can see. I'm actually really impressed here, but I'll save my deep, in-depth thoughts and commentary for the dedicated 2200G video, so get subscribed so you don't miss that. Well, that's it. I hope you found this useful, or at least entertaining. Please let me know in the comments below. What do you think of the Thermaltake S100? Have you built in this case? Are you considering it? I really like it. I think it's a great case. It looks great, it's easy to work with, has a door that opens like a real door, which I love. It's got all the features you'd want, I think. Yeah, good case at a good price. I highly recommend it. It's good. But I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're down there, click the thumbs up button if you like the video, or the thumbs down button if you didn't like it. Check me out on Patreon, link below. I have some fun perks you might be interested in. Subscribe if you haven't already. As always, I'm TechDweeb. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.